Ian,
Hang on.
you are at the wrong place, Ian. At the wrong time, Ian.
Not gonna do. I think I'm gonna do. And just freak out that you made me watch another Justin Price movie.
Justin Price is no Jamal Burden, okay? Let's just say that. All right?
I liked Abominable.
I liked Abominable too, but I mean, Jamal Burden did bring us elves and tangentially related. No one has any idea what we're talking about. But Justin Price.
We're returning to an old bad movie night favorite.
Justin
favorite
Price
to fight about anyway.
is a staple of bad movies.
Yes.
The man has never interacted with us once. Probably never has seen any of the reviews we've done of his movies, but we've covered.
Power to him, to be quite honest. He shouldn't.
Well, when you're that busy pumping out.
Yeah, he is too busy.
He is very busy.
He makes so many movies every year.
So many movies. Which is why they can't put the camera on a tripod. There's just no time, Ian. There's no time. Anyways, we'll get to it.
So what's this movie called again?
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time. Okay.
The marketing for this movie is like, oh, I gotta look it up.
I'm thankful that you told me we had a Justin Price movie. I saw the title. It was like this SWAT team movie meets something. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not watching any trailers. And I think that was the right way to go into this movie, knowing that.
I agree, because this Resident Evil meets SWAT. Do not know where the Resident Evil comes from, but okay.
No, we also, in this same session, talked about a trauma movie called Mutant Blast. That I could see being more Resident Evil. This is not Resident Evil.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Wrong place, wrong time. Justin Price is a director we've covered, like we said, a bunch of times with a bunch of other earlier movies. The Dawnseeker. Alien, I don't know what the hell it's called. And two other ones we did.
Yeah.
13th Friday.
13th Friday.
Elves is Jamal Burden.
Well, yeah, but it is a Justin Price production.
Produced. And so
Picture Zero's film.
We've only been doing this show, I don't know, like 4 years, and we've covered at least 4 of his movies, and he has like 10 within that time span.
Oh, he has more than that, I'm pretty sure.
This is a busy man, like we're saying, and this is a movie, I assume, made on a very low budget, right?
Yeah.
Probably made fairly quickly, and has some positives, I'll say that, and some negatives, but this movie is about a bunch of mercenaries who steal some money, and then there's some backstabbing and some conniving. One of the mercenaries gets hurt during this ordeal. The movie opens like Heat, I'll say that. And then they end up at this house in the middle of nowhere where there
some of your,
is...
like, 90s cop movie tropes.
And then these mercenaries end up in this house in some rural place, and it turns out there's more than meets the eye, as perhaps there is a vampire.
Or something.
And then some hijinks ensue, and the movie ends, and we're here to talk about it.
This is Texas's take on a House Harker film.
We did it!
Check your bingo cards. Just kidding. This is not at all anything like a House Harker in any way, shape, or form. Let's start with the positives. I thought the score for this movie was really effective for what it was. It was really good at building tension at times. It was really good at releasing the tension at times. It definitely gave scenes more weight than perhaps those scenes deserved.
That's why, yeah.
I thought the scoring work was really good, and I thought the gore and like some of the costuming was really ambitious, more than I was expecting for a Justin Price film. They took their time on that at least.
Quick side note about the costuming. It is a immortal mask. It's called Master Vampire Pale, and you can buy it for $600.
Okay.
I immediately recognized it because I thought about buying it before. The body suit, I don't know if they made, but that's definitely the weakest part as well because it looks chunky. But I
thought it was good, but even some of the other elements, the gore and stuff, looked really good.
The gore was pretty fun.
Sometimes we have accused his films of not going all the way there.
True.
You know what I mean?
Well,
this usually did not fail to go as far as it could, within a given scene at least.
This is a different animal for him.
Yeah.
Because it's a vampire and not a... no, I'm just kidding. It is literally a different type of movie than we've seen for most of his stuff because a lot of it is more ambitious. the Dawnseeker, the Alien, Reign of Man movie.
Yeah.
Some other, they're like these sci-fi things, too much green screening, these like things that are not low budget movies not able to get in a successful way, easy way.
Yeah.
Can't get a sci-fi set easily. Jesus, that's a big fucker. Fuck you. So this movie tamps down.
A little more grounded in that way.
It scales down in a way that a low budget movie should, right?
Yeah.
Few locations, few actors, one monster.
Still more actors than you needed, probably.
More actors than you needed.
Not to say anybody did a bad job, just they didn't take the time to make all the characters have a purpose.
No, we're gonna get into. I have a lot to get in, but I want to comment on your comment about the musical score. While I don't disagree that it is competently made score, there is so much of it throughout this entire movie. Like there are very few moments where there is no music, and I think it's probably to hide audio issues.
Probably.
But a lot of this, I'm guessing maybe most of this movie, it's ADR'd.
A lot of it. And sometimes it felt like some characters in a scene were and some weren't.
Yes.
It looked a lot better than some of his. Like the 13th Friday was so badly ADR'd that it
hastily.
was tough.
And this feels...
It always looked on point. It made you question whether it was or not. That makes it, the sound design, if it wasn't ADR'd, at the very least, the sound design in this movie was awful across the board. Not as bad as 13th Friday.
I think that's because I think all the dialogue was ADR'd. Okay,
sound effects were just terrible. They also didn't take the time to give the proper distance of voices.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it's ADR'd, there's no dynamics in the mix.
But you can adjust that theoretically. That's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to do that in post.
You could. You could also give everyone. You could also do more sound effects than just people stepping.
Yeah.
It feels off because the voices are so clear and so consistent in volume, even though people are over here, and there are no dynamics, and then people will walk and you hear that, and you hear very little else.
Yeah.
You'll hear, when they hand a gun to somebody, you'll hear a rattle of a gun. But there's just so much dead silence in the sound design that they cover with music all the time.
Sometimes that can be kind of goofy in a fun way, but his movies are always so serious that
this movie is deadly serious.
Like if this was a trauma film, it'd be like, okay, well, whatever. I get they're going for a thing.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, this movie is not good. I will say that, but I didn't hate it. I do think it has some positives.
It has some positives,
but it feels quick. It feels cheap.
It does feel quick. I would say, in particular, the dialogue and the use of tropes in the film both feel very first draft. Yeah. It's like we finished the script, get it into production. It's like another pass at this or just handing it off to a script doctor and trying to improve the dialogue. And sometimes they would just use cop movie tropes in particular. It's like, I know I've seen that, you didn't use the trope right. Tropes are good shorthand to help you shortcut through a thing
for sure.
that you don't want to take a lot of time on, but they're just and here we got the trope in, the scene where there's one character and he's trying to sell out his team to a mob boss. And in the middle of the dialogue, the boss's goon comes in and puts the gun on him and threatens to kill him. Okay, that's a thing that happens in these scenes, but it served no purpose here.
In this movie,
it didn't serve no purpose at this point in the scene. It derailed the conversation for no purpose, reason. Just because it looked cool. Most of the dialogue in the same way feels well, that was a cool thing to say in that moment, but all the cool things that you don't collect to create a cohesive whole, necessarily.
There's a severe lack of understanding of a story. Do you know what I mean? It's like a hodgepodge of elements.
Well, I wouldn't say that, because the outline of the story is fine.
Okay, but it's also not new. This has been done before.
Yeah.
We literally covered a movie called Harvesters from early 2000s, the exact same storyline.
Is it? Okay.
Bad criminals did something, they end up in this rural house, and it's more than what it seems.
Yeah.
And that's what this is, except for it's a vampire or whatever instead of something else.
Yeah.
And there's moments where they go for it with drones.
But there's no reason you can't take that and do something interesting with it.
No.
But like I said, just everything feels very first draft.
Okay. I mean, we can talk about this, in general, zombie movies. A lot of zombie movies are derivative.
They can be.
But in that case, and a lot of slashers. But in that case, what matters is the execution, right?
Yeah.
So you can have a very generic story,
but finding a really unique take on it.
You got a unique take. That's kind of what I would consider the execution is good, and it's got a specific voice, and you're okay, this is different. There's some style here. I like.
Yeah, I guess I was getting at more voice. We watched that French one 2 or 3 years ago, where the guy was just kind of trapped in his house, had a very like isolation kind of a like that didn't feel like a typical zombie movie.
No, it was
eventually
different.
it gets around to some of your zombie tropes.
Yeah,
But,
I hear you.
But that speaks to voice.
Yes.
Which this doesn't necessarily have.
And
a
this
lot.
doesn't feel like it has much. That's kind of what we're getting at. It's
Yeah.
got the mercenaries, and the actors kind of look the part.
Yeah.
Some of them look badass and stuff, but
The
they have
acting
no
is
character.
never what failed this movie.
They have no characters.
Yeah.
They're just people.
They say what they need to in the scene to move the story forward. They don't say something that tells you more about the character and helps to build a bigger picture.
There's also like there's moments where they do attempt to try with some of the camera stuff where like they pull up to the house and there's this drone shot and you're like, okay, execution isn't good in what they're trying to do, so it ends up hurting. Instead of just putting the camera on a tripod and framing it nice and having the shot done, they're like, well, what if we do it with a drone? But it looks shitty. So it's not like getting the effect you're going for. In the end, it's actually hurting the movie.
Yeah.
But then a lot of the camera work in this movie is just bad.
Yeah.
Like the shots are okay in theory, but the camera work in focus and shakiness is all over. It feels so fast.
Let me throw something at you. I want to say Justin
Do I need
Price.
a baseball glove? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Justin Price is the modern day. I'm drawing a blank on his first name. Pion. Alfred Pion.
Albert Pion.
How
fucking dare you, sir? How
I knew you were gonna do that.
Dare you?
In that, like, everything he's doing is like, wouldn't it be cool if, and it goes into the script. Wouldn't it be cool if, and that's what happened next. And wouldn't it be cool if, because like the movie starts out on a scene that should be a lot of fun. It's a
I have seen Heat. I have seen Heat.
It's a Heat style shootout in the streets, but it opens with so little attempt at character that I'm just like, who am I rooting for here? Is it the bad guys? Because there's plenty of movies where the bad guys are your heroes of the movie. Or am I rooting for the cops here? I literally have no idea what to think because you haven't even given me like just some little dialogue between two characters just to kind of hint at like some sort of hook.
There's nothing.
And there's nothing wrong with the scene otherwise. It all looks cool and it was a cool idea. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You just need a second draft of the script to like insert, okay, we need to, add these things in to just, I don't know. We're coming back around to the same argument again.
I mean, you're talking about basic character problems, right?
Yeah.
You don't ever get invested with anyone in this movie. You don't like anyone. When you talk about that, like the same thing though, when we're talking about with slashers, you don't usually get that invested. But it's more like you kind of look forward towards the kills, right?
Okay.
Or the bad guy is usually what's actually more interesting about a slasher movie.
Can be.
And in this movie, the kills are weird and surprising sometimes, where they're unexpected and they're how they go for the gore.
Yeah.
But
I did like that aspect.
I liked it, but it
actually.
felt weird and out of place, especially from the first 30 minutes where it's like this mercenary thing.
Yeah.
Which I guess is what the idea is. You're like, well, this is about mercenaries. Oh, wait, no, it's not.
Yeah.
So now we're in for the
That
surprise.
bait and switch can be fun, and kind of shifting the whole tone of your movie halfway through. That can work.
It can, but it didn't feel like they shifted. It just felt like a mess, right?
It didn't feel that messy to me. It just wasn't.
I don't know.
We've certainly seen some movies that were hot messes. This just felt inexpert,
Yeah. So what I would say is this movie is not bad enough to be entertaining, not good enough to be worth watching.
Yes. Which I feel like we've said a bunch of times about his movies, unfortunately. This is one of those movies. I watched this movie yesterday when I was driving over. I'm like, fuck, I don't remember anything. I couldn't remember the title of this movie.
Do you think this is an evolution? Like this is an improvement for Justin?
It does some things well that he hasn't always, especially with the gore and stuff. Sometimes that's always been just like throwing a CGI blood splat in the end.
I think it was. I think some of these things were more forgivable for his earlier movies because they were so much more ambitious.
Yeah, I think this might be some of the best acting we've seen in one of his movies. And I think the acting was also undermined by the ADR and the sound design.
Undermined by everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't watch it, but we will.
Skip this one.
We'll watch your next movie.
Yeah.
As we always do.
These days we're just gonna.
Where's Jamal Burton at? I want Jamal Burton's next movie. Abominable.
Elves too.
Such a evolution between Elves to Abominable. The next thing will be like fucking amazing.
They're probably gonna give him an Alien movie.
He's gonna get a Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, probably. I'd watch it. But I'll watch anything with dinosaurs in it. Yeah. You hear that, Justin Price? I'll watch anything with dinosaurs in it.
All right, that's gonna do it for what the fuck is this shit called?
Where will you be?
Wrong place, wrong time. We'll catch you here later, probably.